Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. La ilaha illallah. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Jones, and this is a follow-up to the last posting on the death of Miss Tiffany Ayers in Kalamazoo, Michigan on March 13th of this year. My condolences go out to the family and friends. This was a senseless and needless tragedy. But maybe this is the wake-up tragedy in Kalamazoo, Michigan that is needed for people to wake up and to stand up. I posted on different blogs my opinions, and they're my opinions. I'd now like to read to you a statement that I made on one of those blogs. Dear citizens of Kalamazoo, many of you know me, for I grew up in Kalamazoo, born and raised on the city's north side. I posted a statement about this horrible crime on YouTube, and for you that have not had a chance, you could just go to YouTube, in the search type in The Voice 616, and it'll take you and you may view the video there. Now, with that said, let's get down to the issues. I agreed with one of the persons called Peace Tomato, or Tomato, however you like to pronounce it, and what he or she said. It was the plain truth. Here's what the citizens of Kalamazoo can do to stop and get rid of some of these issues and deal with these issues. First, get rid of the old city manager controlled policy. You must now go to a full-time mayor. Someone has to be held accountable for the actions or non-actions of head of city departments. This would allow the mayor to hire and fire those heads of departments if they can't perform their duties, just like in other cities. What I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, the city type controlled government in Kalamazoo, Michigan is obsolete. It's been obsolete for umpteen decades, and it hasn't been able to push Kalamazoo forward. It's only been holding Kalamazoo back because there's really no accountability in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Going to a full-time mayor, we're now going to put some accountability on individuals. Second, after you do that, anyone who is given the duties as head of a department would be an at-will employee, meaning just like anyone who works for an employer, they can be fired or resign without cause, just like a lot of people do today. No union can save them from being fired, for they are at-will employees. Now, what I mean by that, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you're chief of police, deputy chief of police, head of the fire department, you could be fired. Basically, the mayor should not have to go through a city commission to fire you. If you're not performing your duties, and clearly right now, Chief Hatley has said he can't perform his duties because he hasn't been able to stop this XTrain, which in my day we called cruising, but it's just gone into a whole different level, and he doesn't know how to control it, then he needs to be fired. And we need to get someone in Kalamazoo as a police chief that could deal with this issue and put it to rest. Third, this is for the citizens of the North Side. Stop waiting for these so-called black leaders to defend your rights. Most of them are, well, let's be honest, religious leaders, and don't even live on the North Side where a lot of issues are. They truly don't care unless you attend their church and are paying dues and offerings. And you still get no true effective leadership. And please, don't mention the NAACP, because that's a joke. You know it, I know it, and I know they hate it. Even when I lived in Kalamazoo, I used to tell y'all the NAACP was a joke. It's now a religious-ran organization. And if you're not part of that so-called certain religious organizations or certain religious facilities in Kalamazoo, Michigan, they're not even finna bother with you. You must form a new community coalition, one that will go to the city commission meetings and demand something be done about the issues on the north side, east side, south side. It doesn't matter. Now, and to those who say, David, you're wrong about black leadership, they are trying to do something. Well, let's take a look at the record, ladies and gentlemen. One, when the cancer center was being built downtown, you didn't hear one black leader confront the city commission about no minorities working on that project. Second, when the city removed the bathrooms and water fountains from Rose Street Park and Lacrone Park, they didn't open their mouths. They didn't say a word. They didn't care. Three, when the city took away funding from parks located within minority sections of the city, once again, your so-called black leaders didn't say a word. Now, I know many of you, after reading this or now hearing this out of my mouth, mostly will be blacks, will say, David, you left, so what concern is it of yours about what happens here? First off, I am and has always been a Kalamazooan. I love my hometown, and I only want to see it do better. Plus, my family still lives in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and friends still live in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So I truly do give a damn about what happens in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I only want to see it do better, and when I return, that people can live in a community where they are not scared to go outside, where people can raise their children with moral scruples and values and self-respect and respect for others. Where it doesn't matter what side of the city you live on, because we have one common goal, to be the best city possible. Because there are a lot of good things about Kalamazoo, Michigan, but just like other cities, we have some problems that must be addressed. And these issues will take everyone to solve. All communities must sit down with a full-time mayor to work out these issues. And if the chief of police says this XTrain problem is something he doesn't know how to address, then it's time for him to resign and for the mayor to get someone either resign or fire him. If you got a full-time mayor, the mayor should fire him and get someone who can deal with it. This new coalition must be made up of citizens from all of the communities of Kalamazoo, Michigan. And stressing this, make sure you don't appoint anyone who is head of a church, because if you do, you will only change the name, but the game remains the same. So in essence, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying is this. Don't put those same people over you, because you see they're by their past records. Kalamazoo, in order to go forward, needs true leadership. And it needs someone who can be called to the carpet. Someone that all of the citizens of Kalamazoo can make held accountable. And until you get rid of this almost 100-year-old city charter of a city manager-controlled government, you're not going to proceed. You're not going to go any further. Now, people have asked me, David, well, what would you do down there? Well, simply this. You put a city ordinance in effect. You stop this train, or as I used to call it when we were growing up, cruising, you put it down to like this. If it is 5 or more cars after 1 a.m. driving down a residential district, blasting their music, you get a citation. It's $500. $500. Second time it happens to you, you get your vehicle impounded. Not impounded, I take that back. It's confiscated. And it'll be sold at auction. Third time it happens, you're going to give me 6 months in the county jail. And you're going to pay a $2,500 fine. Now, I guarantee once you do that, ladies and gentlemen, it'll go down like that. Now, don't come to me with that racial profiling crap, because first off, the job is to protect the citizens of Kalamazoo, Michigan, no matter what side of town they live on. And part of that protection is making sure people can get a decent night's sleep. So if fools want to run around Kalamazoo, Michigan at 2, 3, and 4 o'clock in the morning, thinking they're going to drive down the streets in Kalamazoo, Michigan, blast their music, cuss people out, wake people up. Oh, no, you're not. No, you got another thought coming. Because the first time, like I said, you got a $500 citation and you got 60 days to pay it. You don't pay it in 60 days, we're gonna give out a bid to 2, 3 tow companies there. We're gonna impound your vehicle and we'll keep it for 30 days. Now you're gonna pay a penalty of the 500 plus the penalty of 150, which is now 600, plus you're gonna pay those 30 days of impoundment fees of your vehicle being impounded. So this goes to the parents of some of these little sawed off little wannabe gangsters. You know, if your kid is driving your car and your vehicle's involved with this, that means we taking it. Because evidently you know most likely your kid is involved in this and you don't want to deal with it. We'll deal with it by taking your vehicle. Now I guarantee you that's going to bring it down right then and there. The XTrain is done within 60 days. You ain't got a problem on the north side of anyone riding around. I guarantee you. But like I said, don't come to me talking about that's racial profiling. I don't want to hear it. Excuse me. I don't want to hear it. But see, like I said, if you got a mayor up in there that's got some kahunas on him or her, and they put the ordinance and they tell the city council this is what's finna be done, it's done. It's a done deal. See, when you start looking at the times that we're living in now, hey, it comes down to true hardcore leadership and making the decisions that protect all of the citizens of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Because like I said in my thing, if this was in Hatley's neighborhood, you would have never heard about it. Or in certain city commissioners' neighborhoods, it would have been dealt with a long time ago. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. And I will be back in Kalamazoo shortly. And Allah knows best. But I love my hometown. Even though when I lived there, people didn't like what I used to tell or say on my show, you knew I didn't lie. I told you like it was. Even if you agreed or didn't agree, you knew where I stood. Unlike these black leaders that flip-flop, that when they're around the blacks, they say one thing, they get around other people, they say something, and then when they get around certain other people, they say a whole different thing. You knew where I stood. You knew that. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace.